Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय, जय जय गोपाल जय जय। गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय, जय जय गोपाल। राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय, राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय। राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय, राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय। गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय, गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय। गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय, गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय। गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय। राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय, राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय। राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे राम राम राम। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज शिला प्रभुपाद की ISKCON BVT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की श्री वृंदावन धाम की श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगामयी यमुनमय की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की समवेत भक्त वृंद की युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की श्री श्री गौर निताय की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मई की श्री श्री किशोर किशोरी की निताय गौर सीतनाथ प्रेमानंदी. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namaste Narsingaya Praladaladaine Praladaladaine Hiranyakashipurvakshaha Shilatangana-kalaye Ita Nrsinga Bharato Nrsinga Ito Nrsinga Bharato Nrsinga Tato yato yami tato Nrsinga Yato yato yami tato Nrsinga Bahir Nrsinga Hridaye Nrsimha Narashingamadhim Sharanam Prapadye Narashingamadhim Sharanam Prapadye Tava Kadakam Lavade Nakamadbhuta Singha Dalitahi Ranakashipu Tanubringa Ishavadrita Naradirupa Jajagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare. Nrsimhade, 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 Jaya Nrsimhade. Gouda. Jaya Nrsimhade, 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 Jaya Nrsimhade. Jaya Pradhan Maharaj, Pradhan Maharaj, Pradhan Maharaj, Jaya Pradhan Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitya Hariva, 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 Nitya Hariva.
Nrsimha Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Shishi Kishore Kishori ki, Shishi Radha Damodara ki. Dear devotees, on behalf of His Jai Shishi Kishore Kishori, on behalf of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and our beloved deities Shishi Kishore Kishori, Shishi Gaur Nitai, Sri Jagannath Sri Baladev Shrimati Shubhadra Maharani, and on behalf of our beautiful temple president, Her Grace Hemangi Mataji, I'd like to welcome you all today to our Sunday feast. So now, everybody, take a deep breath, very deep, deep breath, and then raise both of your arms high and sing after me, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, in our Vaishnava tradition, today is the beginning of the most important month of the year. It is explained that this is the king of all months. The month of Damodar is the Kartik season starts today. So it's going to be from today all the way to November 11. And it is explained in the scriptures that in this month, every devotional service that you perform, the benefit gets multiplied 1,000 times. So just imagine that. Krishna tells us in the Bhagavad Gita that even a little advancement in this path of devotional service can give us the greatest benefit in the world. So imagine the opportunity that we have in the month of Kartik. So we invite the devotees to take full advantage of this time, and every evening, starting from today, in the evening arctic, so we're going to have the prayers to Lord Damodar every day at 6:30. So if you have a chance, come and participate with the devotees in glorifying Lord Damodar. And also this simple act of devotion that is offering a ghee lamb to the Lord. It is explained that there is so much devotional benefit that you're going to get in your transcendental bank account that you won't ever imagine that. So that's happening. And also this week we have a wonderful, wonderful personality coming. He's arriving on Thursday the 17th. Our very dear His Holiness Chandramoli Swami Maharaj. Hari Bol. So he's going to have very nice programs. The title of these programs that he's going to have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is Bringing Your Mind on Board. And so Friday evening and 7, Saturday evening and 7, and also he's going to be giving the Sriman Bhagavatam in the morning. This is also, so 7 in the evening class and 7:30 in the morning class on Friday. Saturday the same. And Sunday he will give the Bhagavatam class again at 7:30 in the morning and the Sunday feast. So please take advantage of his association. Again, hearing and chanting in the month of Damodar is very, very, very auspicious. And also, this week, this week that we just passed, mark the arrival of our latest Vaishnava. So I want to ask all this community to please send your blessings to our new member of our congregation. His Grace Jasodanandan Prabhu and Her Grace Shamasaki Mataji have the baby boy. His name is Gopal Glenn Prabhu. So please send all your blessings to them, and also especially so our Gopalji become a very, very wonderful devotee of Lord Damodar. And today, one of my favorite devotees, my dear friend and good sister, Her Grace Sri Radhika Mataji, is giving the Sunday class. She's going to speak on the glories of the Draupadi, Srimati Draupadi Devi. And this is her first Sunday class here in Chicago. So, although she's an amazing devotee, very wonderful, very deep, she's a little nervous, but you can give her encouragement with a big Haribol. Haribol! So, thank you everybody. So, I give to Sri Radhika Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So, Hare Krishna. First, we're going to do something different, okay? It's nice and warm in this room, but we want to create more warmth, okay? So, we're going to turn to the person next to us, or in front of us, or behind us, and try to find someone that you don't know, and just welcome them to the Sunday feast. Just thank them for coming, you know, because we wouldn't have Sangha, we wouldn't have association if all of us didn't take the effort to show up here. And maybe it's your first time coming to the Sunday feast, and the person next to you is like a fixture. You know, they've been here for 40 years, and they're here every Sunday. But that's okay, you know, still we can extend a warm welcome to someone who's coming every day, every Sunday. So please, let's take a little bit of time just to warm up to the person next to us and thank them for coming, welcome them. Thank you. So I practice yoga. I try to practice yoga. We have a master yogi here. And yoga is all about being present, right? It's all about staying connected to your breath, staying connected to your body, to your heart. So often, you know, we're sitting here and we're so caught up with all the 50 billion things we've got to do that we're not here fully. So I'm going to request you to just relax your body and breathe deeply. Just start to take some nice deep in breaths and out breaths. We have an hour to, you know, just be present, just be here with ourselves, with our body, with others. And in that state of mindfulness, we'll sing a nice prayer, the names of Krishna. And I request no musical instruments. So we really, really want to focus on the names of Krishna that we're invoking. And perhaps you know the names and you'll repeat after me, or perhaps you don't, and you just listen and just absorb in these names. So the exercise is to be totally mindful of what we're chanting. Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivara Dhari यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुञ्ज बिहारी जया किशोर किशोरी जया किशोर किशोरी जया किशोर किशोरी जया किशोर किशोरी जया प्रभुपदा जया प्रभुपदा जया प्रभुपदा श्रीला प्रभुपदा So I'll chant some mantras to invoke the grace of the elders and the Supreme Lord upon us. And perhaps you've chanted these hundreds of times, but let's really, really try to be mindful of the meaning of every word. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः मुकुं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणम्. So by the mercy of the spiritual master, the lame man can climb mountains and the dumb man can speak, and perhaps so can I tonight. So I'm a lover of drama. So I'm going to set the stage and we're going to let the drama of Mahabharata begin. Okay? So Mahabharata is the longest book in the history of the world. Anybody know how many verses it has? More, more, more. Going once, going twice. So it has 110,000 verses. Yeah? It's the history of the world. And before the Westerners came to India, they considered the Homeric sagas, the Iliad and the Odyssey, as the biggest pieces of literature within humankind. But any guesses as to how many times the length of the Iliad and the Odyssey put together is the Mahabharata? Any guesses? Wild guesses? Going once, going twice. Start with a number. So it's 8 times. Thank you for getting me started. 8 times the length of the Iliad and the Odyssey put together. So it's it's phenomenally large. Yeah. So it's not going to be possible within 40 minutes to do justice to the events. But one of the characters of the Mahabharata, one of the most illustrious characters, is Srimati Draupadi Devi. So in Chicago, we've been glorifying one hero every month. And the heroine of the month, if you will, is Srimati Draupadi. And just because, there's a female speaker tonight glorifying a female heroine, doesn't mean, this is only applicable to the ladies and the gentlemen can take out their solitaires and play solitaires for the next 40 minutes. We're going to examine how the qualities that she exhibits, the principles that she stands by, are applicable to all of us, irrespective of whether we're in a male or a female body. So let's define what a hero is. If you ask my 8-year-old and 6-year-old, my two boys, what's a hero? I asked them. They said, someone with big biceps that carries Metropolis on his back every day and saves everybody else. So that's their definition of hero. But we're going to turn to the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we're going to examine a more transcendental perspective on what is a hero. So the 11th canto says, real heroism is to conquer one's natural tendency to enjoy material life. Real heroism is to conquer one's lower nature. Certainly, everyone likes to propagate his own fame as a brilliant person, but everyone is also subject to lust, anger, greed, and so forth. Therefore, if one can conquer these lower characteristics generated from the modes of passion and ignorance, one is a greater hero than those who merely destroy their political opponents through intrigue and violence. Does that remind you of the news, the presidential campaign? So let's examine Draupadi in this light of real heroism. Okay, so anybody remember the topic for today? It's not just Draupadi, it's larger than that. Anybody? I have a sticker for you, Prabhu. Would you please pass that on? My kids love stickers, so I thought maybe, you would too. So the title for today is Draupadi, Dishonored Yet Honorable. So I'm going to walk you through a panoramic view of Draupadi's life. So just sit back, relax, remember the yogic breathing, and relax your shoulders and your neck, and just allow the drama of Mahabharata to play in front of you. So I'm going to list out some qualities of Draupadi. The first that I'd like to discuss is her expertise. So we sing this every morning, yeah? What is the Sanskrit word for expert? Tatrati, we know. Daksha, thank you, right? So Daksha means expert. So Draupadi is very expert. We see these romantic fables where the pretty princess in pink flowing robes is sitting in that ivory tower, eating grapes from a vine and waiting for Prince Charming to show up. And then women like us that have to clean the bathroom and, cook every day, we're wondering why we can't be that princess. So good news, Draupadi is no princess sitting up in an ivory tower. She's a very practical lady. She used to manage the affairs of the entire kingdom. She kept it going. And if you examine the characteristics of the Pandavas, there was a lot of diversity in their characteristics. So Yudhishthir, he was always taking the path of least resistance, He was very peaceful. And on the other hand is Bhim, who loved conflict. He was itching to fight with someone. So Draupadi plays a pivotal role in the Mahabharata. She brings harmony amidst the diversity of the Pandavas. And, married women that have one husband, imagine being married to 5, Have you ever felt like your husband was sometimes maybe a little unreasonable, maybe too demanding? Have you ever told your friends, my husband's worse than my kids? Well, imagine she had 5 husbands, But she's so expert that the queens of Krishna, they came to Draupadi and said, how do you do it? So imagine the women that are so qualified that they're married to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're looking to Draupadi for guidance. How do you do it? So that's the expertise of Draupadi. She had such deep devotion and love for Krishna that it brought the grace of Krishna into the lives of her friends and her family. That is real expertise, right? Because we're all fallible human beings. And what power do we have, really? But if we're so devoted to God that we can bring grace upon the lives of those that we touch, that's expertise. That's real heroism. So Draupadi was that kind of an expert. One time, the evil Duryodhan sent Durvasa Muni with all his followers, and Durvasa is a very fiery character, so you don't want the curse of Durvasa coming upon the Pandavas. But Draupadi, because she was so devoted to God, she was so devoted to Krishna, she was able to invoke his mercy and his blessing so that that disaster was averted. So we see time and time again how her deep devotion to the Supreme Lord prevented disasters or saved the day for her family. She was also a very cultured, very refined lady. Yeah, so if we examine the quality of her speech throughout the Mahabharata, it stays very, very dignified. When she was a newly wedded wife, she comes to her mother-in-law's home, and her mother-in-law pronounces that she's going to be married to all 5 husbands, and she didn't flip like, we might on our mother-in-law, she accepted the arrangement of providence. Yeah, she was told that this arrangement has been made by divine beings. Lord Shiva himself has ordained this for you. There's a plan of the Supreme Lord in this. And sages like Vyasadeva and Narada sanctioned it. And Yudhishthir, who could never contemplate a sinful activity, he said, I don't feel any contempt upon hearing this. That means it's a pure arrangement. So she had deference to the will of the Supreme, to the orders of the elders. And in that sense, she was very, very refined. Later on, she's actually slurred, or she's reproached by Karna for, he calls her in the wicked assembly a prostitute, which for an honorable lady, there could be nothing worse. And he says, so for polyandry, for marrying more than one husband, she's blamed, and her character is marked or tainted in the assembly. And yet we see that actually it was not by her arrangement, it was the divine arrangement. And we can't really put any blame on Draupadi for that. And in fact, Karna is the one that, by painting such a horrible picture of a very, very honorable lady, he gets the dishonor, and he gets, he has to bear the consequences. So, Krishna always stands by dharma, right? So even if in the short term, someone may insult or someone may slander a devotee, Krishna always stands in the long run. Krishna always stands by his devotees. When she was called into the vicious assembly, it was at a time when her menstrual period had just finished, and according to the custom of the time, she had taken her ritual bath and she had washed her hair, and she was only dressed in a single cloth. And she didn't have the opportunity because the Shasan grabbed her by the hair and pulled her and just thrust her onto the floor. And the first thing she says when she comes before the assembly is not, you horrible people. She says, please forgive me for appearing before you in this condition, but I did not have an opportunity to dress myself appropriately. That's her refinement. That's her culture. And Duryodhana is very cunning. Sometimes in families, there are these characters that like to incite conflicts in the family. So Duryodhana was like that. So Duryodhana was trying to pit wife against husband. So he says to Draupadi, Panchali, if you say that Dharmaraj committed a dharma by gambling you, then I'll let the Pandavas get everything back. But she doesn't bite that bait. She's too smart for that. She is dignified enough that she stands by her loved ones even when they've committed a mistake. She's not blind to Yudhishthir's mistake, but she has the dignity, the culture, that she stands by her loved ones when they've made a mistake. Think of our own lives. especially when they're feeling remorseful for it. And clearly Yudhishthir was feeling remorse, she could tell. And so at that time, she didn't get onto that bandwagon with Duryodhana and say, yes, you made a mistake. Now, later on, in private, later on in the forest, she gets on Yudhishthir's case, So she had an issue with her husband, but she dealt with it in private. So ladies, have an issue with your husband, get on his case in private. I'm kidding. So it just, goes to show her culture. And in that assembly, finally, Vidura, who all along has been, objecting to what's going on, finally he tells Dhritarashtra, King, the sacrificial fire which you kept burning on your sacred altar ever since you started doing sacrifices, that has just gone off. That's a very bad omen. And Dhritarashtra has seen all these terrible vows being taken. Yeah, Bhima has said, "I'm going to kill all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra," and Arjuna has said, "I'm going to kill Karna." And so, this is just getting too much. Dhritarashtra is getting scared now. So at this point, he tells Panchali, "Okay, it's gone too far. Draupadi, ask for anything you like." And what did she ask for? She asked for the release of her husband. Not Arjuna who won her, but Yudhishthir who lost her. That is amazing. Even in the closest relationships, we sometimes commit mistakes. I'm quoting from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's write-up on this. Even in the closest relationships, we all sometimes commit mistakes. And most of us do have a conscience that makes us feel bad when we act harshly. That pinch of consciousness is a burning wound for sensitive people, enough to impel them towards self-correction. When we've hurt someone, we often feel regretful and remorseful. But when the hurt person hits us back with harsh words, those words frequently become like salt on the wound. And the aggravated sting can change our attitude from one of self-correction to ultra-defensiveness. And it worsens the situation more. But this kind of an aggravation of the situation can be prevented if the hurt person holds back from the urge to hit back. But controlling, pain and anger in this way requires great fortitude. Draupadi has that strength of character. She holds back, and she doesn't, hit Yudhishthir back at that point when she can already see he's feeling extremely remorseful. And then Dhritarashtra tells her, "Okay, Panchali, that's granted. Yeah, Yudhishthir is free. Ask for something else." And then she says, "I want the release of all my other husbands with their weapons." He says, "Okay, granted. Panchali, ask for something else." And she says, "No. A Kshatriyani doesn't ask for more than 3 benedictions. A warrior princess doesn't ask for more than 3 benedictions." So, here you see her character again, that she's been wronged, and here she has a blank check, whatever you want, but she's not greedy. She abides by the codes of dharma. That's important to her, not like, I've been wronged, now it's my turn, I'm going to get everything I can. That's just not Draupadi. That's just not her character. She was very, very dharmic. She always lived by the codes of dharma, by the codes of religion. Imagine she was an esteemed princess. The Panchala and the Kuru kingdoms were the most powerful dynasties in the entire world. And she had the opportunity to have a swayamvar. Swayam, one's own var, or husband. So the opportunity to select one's own husband. And that's the primary principle of a swayamvar. And yet when Arjuna, in the garb of a poor Brahmin, approached the family to say, can I compete? She didn't say, no, I'm not going to marry a poor Brahmana. She didn't know at the time it was Arjuna. And she lived through all that poverty and hardships that the Pandavas had to endure and that she had to endure as their wife. with no attachment to wealth, with no blaming, and imagine the princess of the world, the kind of comforts she had been used to. We can't even imagine. But she had the strength of character to live through any circumstance of life. And there's a lesson we can learn, life goes up and life goes down, and life gets rich and life gets poor, and life throws a lot at us. But look at the strength of Draupadi to survive through all that. Even though the assembly had turned completely adharmic, there was no code of religion that was being followed there. She is the one that reminds everyone, please, my dear elders, follow the principles of Dharma. She asks, if Yudhishthira had already lost himself, if he was already a slave, by the codes of Dharma, could he have staked me? So she's asking the elders to please remember Dharma. And at this point, Bhishma praises her. Bhishma, who is revered in all of history as the upholder of Dharma, the man that took an unbreakable vow. And even his own spiritual master, Parshuram, tried to deviate him from his vow. He did not get deviated. At this point, Bhishma praises her. And he says that even amidst such a calamity, you are seeking to abide by Dharma. You are an upholder of religious principles. He praises her virtue. So Draupadi is a real strong Kshatriyani. She's a woman of steel. She has a steel spine that stays erect throughout her life. She's very resilient in all circumstances of life, and she displayed such strength of character. One time, Jayadratha was going for his own wedding, but he sees this stunningly gorgeous, Draupadi's beauty cannot be compared to anybody in this world. So he sees this stunningly gorgeous Draupadi, filling water by a pond. And he's going to his own wedding, but he just, loses it all. And he tries to kidnap Draupadi and put her on his chariot. But she's no ordinary feeble lady. She punches him so hard that big, hunky Jayadratha, he gets totally discombobulated, falls off his chariot. And when Pratikami, when the messenger came to get her and said, you're being called and you've been staked and everything has been lost. Imagine, she is the queen of the emperor of the entire world. What if somebody told the richest man of the world, you've lost everything? But she doesn't collapse. She has such strength that, even hearing that everything has been lost, she's able to think on her feet. She's able to think quickly. And she's holding on to straws, but when there's nothing else to hold on to, you better hold on to straws firmly. So she asks Pratikami, she says, I want you to go ask the assembly a question and ask them if Yudhishthira had already lost himself, did he have the right to stake his wife? So she's thinking quick. She's a very, very sharp Kshatriyani, strong Kshatriyani, warrior princess. She had such ability to forgive. Rare ability to forgive. The disrobing or the attempted disrobing of Draupadi was not just because of lust. It was a struggle for power. It was a hunger for making the Pandavas completely humiliated. The Kauravas repeatedly objectify women, repeatedly. Yeah? And Draupadi is not seen by them as a person. She's seen as an object to demean the Pandavas. And yet, the one person that could have prevented that entire episode is Dhritarashtra. He was the king. He was the father of the Kurus, of the Kauravas. But Dhritarashtra, initially he had this garb of neutrality, but especially when she was staked, Dhritarashtra, he was blind and he's asking, has Panchali been won? Has Panchali been won? So here his garb of neutrality has totally fallen off. And he's clearly, wanting to know if his sons have won the wife of their cousins. And yet, that Dhritarashtra, after the battle of Kurukshetra, after he loses all his 100 sons, who gives him shelter? But Draupadi and Yudhishthir, they stay in the palace of the king and the queen, just treated just as their parents. They took such care for them. They had such empathy. They felt their pain for having lost 100 sons, and they treated them with such dignity, with such respect, with such love. And finally, when Vidura comes and gets on Dhritarashtra's case, and Dhritarashtra and Gandhari and Vidura, they leave for the forest, Yudhishthir feels it's because of his fault, because he didn't take care of Dhritarashtra properly. Can we even imagine, such purity of heart? I mean, no, I can't even imagine such purity of heart. And Draupadi always stood by her noble husband, serving Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, even after all that wrong that they had done, that Dhritarashtra had done to her and her husbands. So she was very, very spiritually qualified. She was actually more qualified than her husbands. So Prabhupada, there's a purport in the first canto, and the verse reads, when Yudhishthir entered the heavenly planet, he saw Draupadi gloriously present there as the goddess of fortune in the heavenly planet. So she got there before her husbands got there. She was very, very qualified. And sometimes, as dependents, yeah, as married women, perhaps, we have this tendency to take shelter in the spiritual qualification and the spiritual atmosphere that is created by our family members. But Draupadi was Draupadi had the character, the spiritual qualification to stand on her own. Prabhupada writes in that purport, Draupadi also saw that her husbands, without caring for her, were leaving home. This is at the end, when all the Pandavas are retiring from active kingship and they're coming to the end of their life. Draupadi knew well about Lord Krishna. Both she and Subhadra became absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and attained the same results as their husband. When flying an airplane, one cannot take care of other planes. Everyone has to take care of his own plane. And if there's any danger, no other plane can help another in that condition. Similarly, at the end of life, when one has to go back home, back to Godhead, everyone has to take care of himself without help rendered by another. The help is, however, offered on the ground before flying in space. Similarly, the spiritual master, the father, the mother, the relatives, the husband, and others can all render help during one's lifetime. But while crossing the sea, one has to take care of himself and utilize the instructions formally received. Draupadi had 5 husbands, and no one asked Draupadi to come. Draupadi had to take care of herself without waiting for her great husbands. And because she was already trained, she at once took to concentration upon the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So we are all individual, and we all have the onus upon us to qualify ourselves spiritually. Nobody else is going to do it for us. We help each other. We're partners in crime and partners in devotion. But we learn from Draupadi's example of training herself. So she had the ability to, at the end of life, quit and go back home to Godhead. So one of the qualities of Draupadi is her great empathy. A lot of us have been learning from Bir Krishna Maharaj about empathy and empathic communication. And Bir Krishna Maharaj says that empathy is the hallmark of a Vaishnava. So empathy is different than sympathy. Yeah? Empathy is when you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes and feel their feelings. Feel from your heart. It's not a mental adjustment. It's not an intellectual exercise. It's the ability to feel what another person feels. And Draupadi had that ability. So after all this, unimaginable, all these atrocities in her life, the battle of Kurukshetra happens. And at the end of the battle, the Pandavas are victorious. But evil Ashwatthama, he comes into the camp at night and he kills her 5 teenage sons in their sleep. They're mercilessly slaughtered, these young boys. This is against all codes of Kshatriya conduct. And Ashwatthama, who is the person that killed the 5 sons, he runs for his life because Arjun is hot in the chase, after him. And Arjuna captures him. And Arjuna bounds him up and he brings him in front of Draupadi. Now imagine, parents in the audience or anybody who has a parent, just imagine, we can imagine these human feelings, whether we have children or not. Imagine the intense distress this mother is feeling at the loss of all 5 children that she has. She had received a benediction that she would have 5 husbands and from them 5 children, and then no more children after that. And here is the murderer of her 5 sons standing in front of her. This mother who is fresh from this wound. I mean, it's just happened. The children have just been murdered. And what does she do? I'm going to read some parts from the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada says, when Ashwatthama was brought before Srimati Draupadi Devi, she, although begrieved for the murder of her sons, and although the murder was present before her, could not withdraw the due respect generally offered to a Brahmin or to the son of a Brahmin. This is due to her mild nature as a woman. A mild woman could not withdraw her natural courtesy for a Brahmin. She could not tolerate Ashwatthama being bound by ropes. And being a devoted lady, she said, release him, for he is a Brahmin, the son of our spiritual master. She reminds Arjuna, you have learned all your military arts from Drona, from the father of this Ashwatthama. How can you kill him? Here's a begrieved mother, reminding everyone of dharma. Prabhupada writes, a devotee of the Lord can tolerate all sorts of tribulation personally, but still such devotees are never unkind to others, even to the enemy. These are the characteristics of one who is a pure devotee. Draupadi says, my Lord, do not make the mother of Ashwatthama cry like me. She has such empathy that she can put herself in the shoes of the mother of the murderer of her sons and say, I'm broken because my sons have died, but let not another mother cry like me. Let not another mother be childless like me. That is the empathy of Draupadi. How can we even imagine? So this is real heroism, not fighting back, controlling our lower tendencies. This is real heroism, where Draupadi again and again displays her higher nature. In the US, when there's capital punishment given to someone, there are tailgate parties. Yeah, people have their pickup trucks and beer, and they're drinking right outside the prison. But here's a lady that had, she would have just said, and Arjuna would have killed him. But she doesn't take up that opportunity. So finally, the crowning quality of Draupadi that I'd like to discuss is the quality that pervades everything else, and it's Krishna Eka Sharana. Yeah? Krishna is our only shelter. Krishna is our only master. If we consider from a material standpoint, if there's one person in the history of the world that should have been protected from all calamity, is Draupadi. Right? She was the daughter. She was born from a fire sacrifice. Yeah, she was the daughter of King Drupada. She was the sister of Drishtadyumna, who was the commander-in-chief of the Pandava forces. She has not one, but 5 husbands. Arjuna, who's the great archer with the Gandiva bow. Bhima, who has a strength of 10,000 elephants. Yudhishthira, who is Dharma personified himself. He's the son of Dharmaraj. And her grandfather-in-law was Bhishma Dev, the great fighter and the abider, the upholder of all religious principles. How is it possible that at such a time, Bhishma failed her? Yeah? How is it possible that at such a time, when there was an attempted disrobing of Draupadi in front of her elders, Bhishma could not determine principles of religion? He couldn't determine, so this is also known as niyamagraha, right? So sticking to the letter of the law rather than the spirit of the law. The spirit of the law is to protect, and he was getting caught up in these details. The whole assembly got caught up in the technicality of dharma and essentially condone a travesty of dharma. How is it possible that Draupadi was in such a position? It's completely the arrangement of Krishna. So, when the mother-in-law has to instruct the daughter-in-law, she says it in front of the daughter, right? She says something, so the daughter-in-law gets the message, without upsetting her. So similarly, Draupadi is so qualified that Krishna uses her to instruct us, to show, there is no other shelter, there's no other protector. If Draupadi had to go through all that, who are we? What can we say? Our insurance, our ADT security, what can we say is going to protect us? Krishna eka sharana. Krishna is the only shelter. We probably have all faced situations, tough situations where we're getting, covered by those waves of injustice or just tribulation after tribulation. And look at the life of Draupadi, tribulation after tribulation. It's very interesting how Draupadi, because of the strength of her character, the cloth on her became inexhaustible, but the disrober became exhausted, right? So Dushasana became completely exhausted, and her sari became completely inexhaustible because of the protection of Krishna. But such supernatural protection, such miracles certainly, happen in the lives of devotees, but we can't expect them, right? I mean, such supernatural protection that came into Draupadi's life where nobody understood what was going on, but she was being supplied unlimited amounts of cloth so she would not be naked in front of the assembly. Such supernatural protection, we can't expect it, and we shouldn't get into that expectant mentality. What we can focus on is from our side, always choosing honorable or always making honorable choices, even when we are being dishonored. Perhaps we've been misunderstood sometimes. Perhaps we've been blamed for things that, are not our fault. Perhaps, such situations occur in our life. But we can always choose the honorable path. We don't have to choose to side with our lower nature, our lower tendencies. For that is real heroism. Draupadi shows again and again that one's innate dignity doesn't have to be sheltered in one's masculinity or one's femininity. Yeah? It can be sheltered in one's spirituality. So I'm going to just read Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, his comments on Draupadi and end with that. Life may dishonor us, but life cannot force us to make dishonorable choices. Draupadi's admirable character is revealed in the most humiliating incident of her life. Though victimized in body, she refuses to be victimized in heart. Her exceptional character transforms the lowest point in her life into the highest point. The incident in which she's most dishonored, she emerges as the most honorable. She always chooses the heroic path. So I invite all of us to also try to be a hero in following in the footsteps of Srimati Draupadi Devi. Srimati Draupadi Devi ki jai. So I want to invite any reflections you might have. Anything that maybe can we have a second mic, Prabhu? Any reflections? Yes, Prabhu has one. Thank you. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for wonderful um, detailed, in brief instructions about Draupadi Maharani. I have just one question in mind, and it comes back to where Pandavas set up new capital in Indraprastha, and they built a wonderful palace, and they invited
Kind of Prastha.
Kauravas and Duryodhan came to visit. And from what I have heard all this time from Mahabharata, that when Duryodhan entered the main hall, he thought there was water flowing, so he went around that, and he was told that no, it's not water, so they stepped on it, and he also stepped on it, and he was amazed to find it. And the next portion, he thought, which was like a floor, and he fell in it because it was actually water. Draupadi was said to be standing like in that balcony, and she laughed.
So I'm going to interrupt you there because what I have heard from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, who is a real expert on Mahabharata, he has studied in great detail, is that that is incorrect. That there are many sensationalized versions of Mahabharata where Draupadi is portrayed in, in many different ways, which are incorrect. So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says that she was a very refined and cultured lady. She never slandered Duryodhan. That was just not her culture. But, as we know, there are bona fide and not bona fide versions, and that is not correct. Draupadi would never treat a guest into her palace like that.
Thank you.
Any reflections? Any? Yes.
Hi, I actually thought you, from what I gathered and heard, was very excellent. And it was an extremely important presentation because a lot of times people harbor a lot of ugliness and they have revenge or vengeance in their hearts. And actually, it affects you more so than you could possibly believe. It's, you can forgive and maybe not forget, but it's always better to be a good example and to always look at it in a higher level of consciousness, whatever that's going on, because it actually will destroy you and lower your spiritual quest, I guess you would say. So I think you really did an excellent job, and it was something that was not the typical subject matter. It's very important because many times we come here and we forget what our true purpose is, and we should always, whatever happens, whatever despair, that we have, we should move forward and look at each other as brothers and sisters because, Krishna sees all. And forgiveness is very important. And being an example is even more so important. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So they say that having vengeance in your heart is like holding coal, and you're thinking the other person is getting burned by it, but you're hurting yourself. So maybe just one more. Would anybody? You too. Draupadi. It's a Sanskrit word, but to say it in English, Draupadi. Draupadi. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I felt like your thing was very sorry. I felt like your thing was very good and it implied in my life situations and it was you answered many of my questions from Mahabharata too and I think it was really good. Thank you.
Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much, and we'll move on to the next program. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Radhika. And we'd like to invite everybody to the third floor upstairs for a wonderful dinner. And also, who's here for the first time? Any first timer? Raise your hand. We have a very nice gift for you right in the front desk by the table. So please ask for you. We have a very nice gift for you. Thank you for coming. Yes. And everybody, please come down after prasadam. We're going to offer a lamp to Lord Damodar. So don't miss that. Thank you.
Come. You have to come here then. You have to come. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त
नीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी अष्टादशतारिणे Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. Ha, ha, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishore, Jaya Kishore Kishori. Jaya Gauranita, 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 Jaya Gauranita. Jaya Gauranita, 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 Jaya Gauranita. Jaya Jaganatha, Jaya Jaganatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaganatha, Jaya Jaganatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
He didn't reply. Oh, he said go for it. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि। आइए। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण हरे राम हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Sit here. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. सब लोग प्रेम से बोलिए। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जोर से बोलिए। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Yashoda Damodar ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे.
Thank you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. नमामि च्वरं सच्चि दनन्दरूपा लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् नमामि स्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपा लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् नमामि स्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपा लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमाना यशोदाभियोलुकालादवमाना परामृष्टमातं ततो धृतगोप्ता परामृष्टमातं ततो धृतगोप्ता यशोदाभियोलुकालादवमाना परामृष्टमातं ततो धृतगोप्ता रुदन्तमोहुर्नेत्रयुग्मां रुजन्ता कराम्भुजयुग्मेन शतङ्कनेत्र रुदन्तमोहुर्नेत्र युग्माम्बुजान्ता कराम्बुजयुग्मेन शतङ्कनेत्र मुहुश्वासकम्पात्रिरेखाङ्ककण्ठ शीतग्रीवं दामोदर भक्तिवद्धा मुहुश्वासकम्पात्रिरेखाङ्ककण्ठ शीतग्रीवं दामोदर भक्तिवद्धा इति दृक्षालीलाभियानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषणीमाजतमक्षापयन्तम् इति दृक्षालीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषणीमाजतमक्षापयन्तम् तदीशितकेषु भक्तिर्जिता च पुनः प्रेमाता सतावृते वन्दे तदीशितकेषु भक्तिर्जिता च पुनः प्रेमाता सतावृते वन्दे वरं दिवां मोक्षं न मोक्षावधिं तत्त्वान्यब्रूणेह वरे सदपिह वरं दिवां मोक्षं न मोक्षावधिं तत्त्वान्यब्रूणेह वरे सदपिह वरे सदपिह इदं ते वपुरनाथ गोपालबाला सदा मे मानस्य विरास्तके मने इदं ते वपुरनाथ गोपालबाला सदा मे मानस्य विरास्तके मने इदं ते मोखं भोजम् अत्यन्तनीले घृतं कुन्तले स्निग्धरक्ते च गोप्या इदं ते मुखम्भोजम् अत्यन्तनीले घृतं कुन्तले स्निग्धरक्ते च गोप्या मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्ताधरं मे मनस्य वीरस्तमलं लक्ष्यलाभे मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्ताधरं मे मनस्य वीरस्तमलं लक्ष्यलाभे नमो देवा दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख नमो देवा दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख मम ज्ञाय ध्याखे दुचा कृपादृष्टि विश्वादिदिनां बतानो ग्रहाणि मम ज्ञाय ध्याखे दुचा कुबेरात्मजो बाधमते भयाधा त्वया मुचितो भक्ति भज कृतोष कुबेरात्मजो बाधमते भयाधा त्वया मुचितो भक्ति भज कृतोष तथा प्रेम भक्तिं शोकमे प्रयथा नमो शीघ्रो मे श्रीदामोदरेण तथा प्रेम भक्तिं शोकमे प्रयथा नमो शीघ्रो मे श्रीदामोदरेण नमस्ते सुधामे सुरदेति धामे तदीयोदराय च विश्वसधामे नमस्ते सुधामे सुरदेति धामे तदीयोदराय च विश्वसधामे सलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमामि स्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपम् लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् नमामि स्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपम् लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् यशोदाभियोलुखाना तव माना परामृष्टमात्यं ततो धृत्य गोप्रा यशोदाभियोलुखाना तव माना परामृष्टमात्यं ततो धृत्य गोप्रा Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे जय राधा बंशीधारी राधा बंशीधारी राधे जय राधा बंशीधारी राधा बंशीधारी राधे जय राधा कुंज बिहारी राधा कुंज बिहारी राधे जय राधा कुंज बिहारी राधा कुंज बिहारी राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा गिरिधारी राधा गिरिधारी राधे जय राधा गिरिधारी राधा गिरिधारी राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय कृष्ण जय श्री कृष्ण जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय किशोर किशोरी 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 गौरा 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 हरि गौरा 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 हरि गौरा 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 हरि निताय गौरांग जय गौरा हरि निताय गौरांग जय गौरा हरि जय गौरा निताय गौरा निताय गौरा निताय जय गौरा निताय Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada ki
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Everyone, please join us for Kirtan. Please have a seat. Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama, Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,